Hey, what's up guys, I'm Joseph Ryan BATI, your tech warrior from Limang Siglo. Today we're going to talk about the basic interface of editing workflow. By the way, this tutorial is applicable regardless of what editing software you will use, be it a Premiere Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, Filmora, or on mobile devices, the KineMaster, Power Director, or anything that you use as video editing. So the purpose of this episode is for you to be familiarized on the basic editing interface, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So now I am in the Final Cut. You have the timeline, you have the FX panel, you have the transition panel, you have your tools, the cut tool, the move tool, the zoom tool, and pretty much basically of all those tools that is mentioned, that's basically the tools that you will usually use. So this is the timeline of my episode 3. As you can see, it's not that much. I have some text, my logos, then the screen recording, then a backup angle, which is the camera 3 that is facing on the laptop, and then the camera 2, which is a medium shot, then my main camera, which is a wide shot, which is by the way on the very main part of the timeline, and then I have a separate audio recording, and lastly is my background music. Now this main part is very important because everything you put above is kind of attached to it. So if you delete this main part, everything will be deleted as well, even the audio. Now let's go for the tools. As again what I've mentioned before, the select tool, this is the default tool, the move, and then the most common tool that is used is the blade. This is basically cut the clips into two. Like for this, take this, I'm going to cut this one, and then whatever I do in this part, if let's say I'm just going to lower the opacity, then now as you can see it faded out. Then when I go into the next one, the other part that is cut, it's still there. This tool is one of the commonly used tool, the cut or the blade tool in the Final Cut. And the tip here is to learn the hotkey of these tools. You can go from the blade or the cut to the arrow. Just like here, you can see in the Final Cut, select tool is A, blade tool is B, then so on and so forth. As you can see right here, it says it all. And at the right part, this is pretty much the normal cycle when you're editing. You go cut, and then revert it to the select tool, and then cut again until you're satisfied with the cuts and all. Then you have the move tool, as the name suggests it. You can move a media source at least wherever you want. So here in the left panel, I have the transition, and then the side by side by it is the FX. So the transition that I usually use is the cross dissolve, which is basically it will dissolve from one clip to another. Like here, I did use a cross dissolve. So now like that. Then you have others like the blur. This is basically just the simplest transition that you usually going to see on other video editing software and application. These are pretty much basic. And then the FX, same on the FX, you have this blur, you have the color preset. Let's go to the what I wanted to really at least introduce quietly. The keying, which is mostly usually used on green screen. I mean a solid color, if you wanted to remove that solid color, this is mainly affects on the lighting. And then you have the masking. It is kind of similar in the cropping, but masking is much detailed than the cropping. Then like this, you have the shape. You can have a shape mask, you can change it, and this is what I'm saying, the draw mask. Like if I wanted to mask myself out. So as you can see, I quickly mask out myself, and to really show you that it is masked out, I did disable my main, and then as you can see right now on the screen, I can also have it inverted, wherein I am the mask out. But what if it's just like this, it's moving? Then here it comes the keyframing. But the keyframing is kind of far much advanced, not really suited in this episode. I just mentioned it because it will really helps a lot when you learn about this. So basically, this the keyframing, it has a start point and then it has a ending point that keeps intact of whatever you did in that. This needs a lot of time and much detailed work. And that's it for this episode of Samu-Rye Tech. Hope you learned something and be inspired by this episode. This has been Joseph Ryan BATI, your tech warrior from Limang Siglo, saying, study, 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 and learn from your mistakes. Maximize what you have. Ding!